Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for Daily D&T. We're going into round 2 after getting very narrowly beaten by Hypergenesis. That's a tough matchup. And we have more hate bears than normal to try and stop it as well. And it still just was really difficult. We're playing against Doomwake. We have a modern hand. I still think I'll keep this, but it's not necessarily exciting. If we're playing against depths, this hand is actually pretty great. We'll lose our Arbiter here, but like we'll have a Caracas, we'll have the ability to scry, we can set up so that we can protect a flyer from Merit Lodge and hold the board. We have good things coming. I really like my opponent's Swamp. Just toss that out there. These seem like carefully chosen basic lands. How do I feel about that Wasteland? Do I want to show that? I think I'm fine with showing that. So I think I'm actually going to gain 3 life with this one and very relevantly go to 23. Leonin Arbiter is probably sick against this deck. Sajiri Step, pro white, you bet. Now, protection from red, that's a statement. Yeah, we have a lot of tools now. Debating whether or not I want to Swords to Plowshares the Elvish Reclaimer. My opponent's going to get an activation out of it. I think I do want to Swords to Plowshares it. Like, let's make them make their decisions now. They'll probably rotate away the Sajiri Step into something else. Being at 23 is going to mean that I'm not just going to die to a Merit Lodge out of the middle of nowhere. And I'm not just going to fold to my opponent having like a Not of This World for my Caracas. It is a Ghost Quarter. That's fine. I don't think I want to wasteland the Ghost Quarter and play into crop rotation here. So I think I'm just going to scry with Charming Prince and then decide whether or not I'm attacking with Giver of Runes from there. I think I am. I don't think I want the Rashadan Port. I do think I want the Thalia. I do regret my sequencing a little bit. I could have attacked with Charming Prince, then Charming Prince to my Charming Prince, to Charming Prince my Charming Prince, and do the scrying at the end of my opponent's turn. Little things, like unlikely to matter. I'd probably still like want that Thalia anyway, but it is relevant. All right, once upon a time, it's story time. In Urborg. You see like a vampire hex mage. Alright, so this is actually very good for me. So I can go 1, 2, play a Thalia. Now, if my opponent wants to crop rotation, they need to do it right here. Now they can't crop rotation in the face of this Thalia. So I can wasteland their Ghost Quarter. I'm unsure of how many different answers to the Caracas they're going to be playing. So I'm unsure if I should actually just like play this out and play my Giver, or if I need to protect it in hand. I'm going to go ahead and play it out. Not sure if that is correct. But if it costs them like a card, 2 mana, and a land to answer that Caracas, that might just leave me with enough time to just clock them out of this game. Like I have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. Not so much now. Well, yeah, I guess I do still have them on a 2-turn clock, and this is insane. What a top deck. So now we're crashing with all of those. All right. I got there pretty easily versus depths. We're probably even better suited than normal to fighting depths. Path to Exile seems good. Jailer seems good. Council's Judgment and Surgical Extraction seem playable. So my Stoneforge Mystic package normally is the sort of thing that I look to cutting first here, but that's just not around. And then I cut 3 drops after that, traditionally. So I don't really know that I want to go this deep, and I might not even go, like, Surgical Extraction deep. Canonist seems good, Flyers seem good, Anafenza seems unnecessary. And I guess I can, like, trim on some Charming Princes. Like, they're definitely fine. I think I'm supposed to keep all my Givers, because I have 4, 5, 6. I have 7 Flyers that I can use to Stonewall with, and it can also just help me push damage through or protect my relevant hate bears. I think I like this. It's possible on the draw the Palace Jailers are too slow, but this seems fine. My opponent has mulliganed once already. Note I have 2 copies of Caracas, and I've drawn both in my opener 2 games in a row. Normally, that'd be pretty bad. Here, it's pretty great. Well, Bob, sorry, but you gotta go. I'll give you the land. I'm not giving you that card advantage. Sure. So my opponent doesn't have Vampire Hexmage right now, or they would have just played Vampire Hexmage, made the 2020, and called that good. So knowing that, I don't need to just slam this Revoker on Hexmage here to shut off some outs. I'm going to try to eliminate some of the utility associated with tutoring over the course of the next 2 turns. More than anything else, I'm scared just like losing immediately on the spot to crop rotation. Well, I guess like not on the spot. You have to be like crop rotation and the Simian Spirit Guide, but like a tutor in response here is pretty rough. Just like getting the Thespian stage. So my council's judgments are in the sideboard currently. So this is sticking around. Top deck a removal spell like a boss. Not a removal spell. But I guess it keeps me alive a turn. Lets me draw towards other outs. Like now Jailer becomes an out if I can just jump block this turn. Well, I can make 2 cats. And I can die. Alright, so now do I want to consider the council's judgments when I am on the play? One seems fine, but I don't really want to cut any of the rest of these cards. And I'm also not sure that like cutting Charming Prince for another card is actually better, because Charming Prince, like boosting my life total a little bit, is super relevant. Nope. Guess that's good enough. I'll be throwing away the second Giver of Runes here. Really hoping to draw a white source to be able to play Arbiter on 2 here. Nice. We'll see how much work my little cat friend does. 100% will make the trade here if my opponent attacks. Or Giver, specifically. Nice. So I kind of just want to cast the Canonist, and then Violin the Tomic if my opponent does anything that's suspicious. Boarding my opponent is fine as well, but I think I'm going to want to tick this Vial up to 4 towards Palace Jailer. Well, I suppose next turn, with my Vial trigger on the stack, I could Violin the Canonist. That's fine. It's an Urborg. My opponent has tapped their swamp in the upkeep. Oh, they've paid for Leonin Arbiter's ability. I see. Got it. Sorry, that doesn't actually appear in the chat log. Nice. So now we path to exile Bob. My opponent can't pay to search. And we crash in with some creatures. Sure. So this is neat. So we might just kill a Vampire Hexmage here, one way or another. I think my opponent was probably supposed to like sacrifice the Vampire Hexmage to the Aether Vial in response, because that's something they would do anyway if I actually have Palace Jailer. We seem very, very much in control of this game. Opponent would need some crazy massacre-esque board wipe, I think, in order to get past this wall of crap that I've got going on. All right, good stuff. The 2-drop taxes takes the day. I'll be back tomorrow.